I know, very exciting. And if you want to go ahead, thank you.
The manager also has a conflict. So, Nicole, would you like to tell us about the?
Yes, sir. Good morning. For county announcements, finance received the SP Global Rating, so we will be talking about that. It is Fire Prevention Week, October 6th through October 12th, and so we will talk about that. And then October is also Cybersecurity Awareness Month, so Mike Elpers or Joe Courier will be here to talk about that, and that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. We've got one set of minutes to review, and then we will move into a proclamation recognizing Junior League for all of their good work. And then we get into appointments. We've got an MAPC appointment, and we've also got an appointment to the Emergency Communications Advisory Board. Then we get into new business. It's short, but it's pretty fascinating. First is a bond sale that's part of the admin building financial plan. Lindsay's pretty excited about that. There are no questions. Item F is a change of the closing date on the elections building and then a lease back proposal. And I think that you've all been briefed on that. I don't know if there are any questions. Okay. Item G is a consideration of an amendment to TIF district, South City TIF district. The city will be taking up this item on the Tuesday before, but what it does is it removes some of the conditions that were implemented initially as the TIF district was adopted. And it will allow the city to use some of those funds to address part of their parking plan for the.
I know that Brent sent us some information on that one, but I don't know what the financial impact is on Sedgwick County. How much is it costing us?
Well, Brent is here, so we can have him come speak to what the financial impact is, but from the agenda item, there is no financial impact. We are preserving our amount that we get today at a flat level. And so as the TIF continues, there won't be any change from what is happening today. But Brent, do you have anything else you want to share? Did I cover it appropriately? Okay.
Pretty much it. What we are.
You got to come to the mic if you're going to talk. Commissioner Dennis, are you good with that info or do you want Brent to provide more?
I just want to know what it costs us to send that.
Nothing.
Okay, that's good enough. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Item H, we'll get another update on the ARPA spending plan. And item.
Oh, but it's more than an update. Tim, may I jump in?
Please do.
We are also going to ask you all to authorize a resolution to do an interfund transfer of $10 million from ARPA to the general fund to reimburse. So that will bring us up to a total of 17 million thus far. I sent you a draft of the spend plan a couple days ago. In that spend plan, that also still leaves us with $3 million in contingency. Assuming we don't have to access that for change orders or any personnel adjustments between now and the end of the year, we would also propose to do that as revenue replacement, which could potentially bring the total to $20 million of our 100.2 million that could be used for revenue replacement to be earmarked for CIP or technology or other things that we'll talk about closer to the end of the year. But I did want to emphasize that there will also be a resolution that comes along with that spend plan. So thank you for letting me insert myself.
Sure. Thank you. And then we've got bids and Board of Bids and Contracts.
I may ask some questions that and I don't have it in front of me, so I don't remember which ones that I had issues on. You got that? Thank you.
And Joe is online, so we will make sure he can answer some of those questions, hopefully, or get them to the right departments.
The emergency communications one, are we buying that for every police department or everything that's using radios?
Yes, whenever this grant opportunity became available, Laura brought that before the commission. All all of the municipalities were offered the opportunity to participate in that grant. And I think all of them did submit what their needs would be. And so the county submitted a grant application to the state of Kansas for the full amount for all of those city police departments so that they could encrypt. So yes, we're taking care of all of them with the state grant money.
So even though, do we buy the radios and so forth too?
No,
I don't understand why that we're supporting, I know we provide communications to them.
yes,
But if we upgrade things, why aren't they having to share the expense of that?
they are. There was a cost sharing to this, and each individual department provided their own cost share portion of this grant, and then otherwise the grant is paying for the grant portion for them. And it was easier to do this collectively so that our radio shop could push. Our radio shop is the one who will push these upgrades to every radio that's on the system.
Okay.
But it made sense to do it that way. But as far as the cost share portion of this, each municipality is paying their own cost share portion to our general fund for that purpose.
And the same question I have on item 8, which is the ability to break into cell phones. Do other departments that use that help us pay for that, or do we fund it for everybody?
Anybody from the sheriff on here? Okay. So the Cellbrite is a tool that is used down at the Exploited Missing Child Unit, the ICAC Internet Crimes Against Children's Task Force.
I'm aware
And
of what it is,
yeah.
but
So
one that need it. And actually, the city of Wichita needs it a whole lot more than we do.
both, since we're in a joint partnership down at EMCU, I don't know, I'd have to check with the sheriff to see if the sheriff in turn invoices the city for a portion of that, but I think it falls under the agreement, under the internet, under EMCU and the Internet Crimes Against Children's Task Force agreement between the city and county. I think it's a cost share, but I'll have to verify that with the sheriff and get back with you.
It just seems like every year we fund a lot of these things and everybody else uses it. And we use it less than most people do. So I want to make sure that our taxpayers are not taking care of everybody else's responsibilities.
When we move into the consent agenda, item J is an easement with $2,120 price tag. Item K and L are linked together. Item K appoints Dr. Gurriel for another 4-year term as our coroner. And then item L is the employment agreement that matches that same time period. Item M is ComCare's participation in the community HUD grant application. It's a $616,000 request. It's for a program called Shelter Plus Care, and it serves people that are referred by ComCare, SAC, Miracles, and KU.
Can I ask, is that the same amount that we've requested in the past, or is that?
It's a similar amount, and it's an amount that is determined through, there's a COC application process, and it's been determined through that process. So it's very similar to what we spent in previous years.
Okay, thank you.
Item N is acceptance of donation for mental health first aid. There's $7,000 coming from the Association of Community Mental Health Centers that will compensate the department for staff time and for the materials so that we can provide mental health first aid for free to the community. Item O is it's a nice story. It's a $2.5 million grant for our crisis stabilization from KDADS. That is the first increase since 2015. It's been $1.5 million. Joan worked with the KDADS and increased that to 2.5. So that will also include a little bit of an increase for SAC for the services they provide inside the Community Crisis Center. Item P is lifting of the hold on 6 different positions on the ComCare staffing table. There's 2 part-time ICS staff, 2 part-time peer support, and then 2 full-time clinicians.
General fund or
No, they're revenue fund. Item Q is the annual KDADS award. It's a pass-through to the Central Plains Area Agency on Aging for the Older Americans Act spend plan. Item R is a request to do a budget transfer from EMS personnel line item and the public safety contingency to EMS contractual and commodity fund centers. That will help them cover their expenses through the end of the year. Item S is to approve donation of some surplus items to the Potwin Volunteer Fire Department. There are some masks that are no longer needed by Sedgwick County. We're going to pass those on to Potwin Fire Department. Item T.
Volunteer Fire Department in Sedgwick County.
It's not. And Elizabeth, I guess, would you mind coming to the podium and kind of talking about what the strategy is? This is being handled through risk management. This is the first volunteer fire department that we're working with, but I know that there's plans to reach out to others because we do have excess masks. So I'll let Elizabeth speak to her process.
Donating to volunteer fire departments, just that we need to place Sedgwick County volunteers first before other counties.
Elizabeth Wingo, your Director of Risk Management. So we do have a surplus of masks that were given to risk management to reallocate. These were masks that were purchased more than 20 years ago through some grants. They were never utilized, so they were given to risk management to reallocate. We've started with reallocating them within the county to county departments as appropriate, but we do still have quite a surplus. This opportunity came about. Tim Banks, who is the respiratory protection specialist, was a volunteer with the Potwin Fire Department, and they requested the mask. So this is the first of hopefully several donations that we'll be making to volunteer fire departments. And we will specifically be reaching out to all the volunteer departments in Sedgwick County to see if they would like any of these. And if they do, we'll make sure that they get what they need.
Okay. Item T is appoints the county court judges as administrative hearing officers to meet county code for certain hearings. I think Justin wanted to make a comment about that.
Thank you, Tim. I did want to note on this item, there will be a slight tweak to the resolution draft that's in the backup materials. Now it would be to add the fee for that. This would appoint our county court judges into that role. We don't currently have a resolution that has those appointed. I had a former county court judge who's now a district court judge appointed, so we needed a general one that could apply at all times. I think is really the intent behind this. I would also add a $100 hearing fee because this is outside of their typical duties as county court judges. We were also wanting to add a slight amendment to cross-reference the administrative hearing officer language within that code. But pretty routine item. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.
And then item U through X are routine items. Justin, you want to talk about executive session?
Beyond just saying that our office will be in touch if there is an executive session early next week. We'll let you know.
Any questions?
One question, go back to item L, did the salary range change for that? We know if there's a negotiation that happened, is there something we need to know about that in terms of salary adjustment?
I'm gonna let Rusty.
I'll speak to that. Dr. Stedman's on the line, but generally those contracts state that the physician will receive the same compensation as general pay plan employees. And so the way this contract is written is that he will receive a 5% pay increase in January, which is what other general pay plan employees are receiving.
That's every year of a 4-year contract?
The way it's written is that he will receive what other general pay plan employees receive. So whatever it is, the following year is what it will be. That's the way those contracts are pretty much all written.
Yes, that is pretty standard across the board for the organization that we build that type of language in for contracted employees.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay, well, it does look like we have a fire district meeting as well.
We do. There's one item, and it is a donation from the Kansas Pipeline Association to the fire district. If there's any questions about that? Okay.
Well,
should be fun. Thank you guys. Appreciate your time.